Thank you, Lucy, and welcome.
Great. Thank you so much, Kate. Thank you, Sue, for inviting me to run this session. Thanks, everyone, for showing up as well. So yeah, quick introduction. I'm Lucy Mills. I live in Barcelona. This is where we're headquartered. And at my company, we're about getting sport ready for the future, hence the name. So we advocate for and create learning experiences about tech innovations, blockchain, artificial intelligence, technologies that are impacting on our lives and indeed in the world of sport. And we do this especially in women's sport because of the digital gender gap and also because there are pronounced gender disparities in the world of sports tech. And it's curious, actually, because technology and digital media have been the engine of growth for women's sport and has the potential to play even a greater role in future. This is certainly the case with AI, and we'll touch on that later on. So in this session, I have a PowerPoint presentation, which I'll share in a moment and talk through the session outline. And as Sue was saying, so as we go through, we've got a lot to cram in less than an hour. So if there are any comments or questions, please do use the chat. If we don't get around to discussing them, I'll review them, and it would be great to send a follow-up later on with responses or recommendations, links, and so on. So I'll just share my screen now. Here we go. Great. So the session I outlined, so today we'll get introduced to the concept artificial intelligence. We'll look at some of the concerns and challenges with AI, and we'll look at some of the ways that it's being used in sport today. We'll then wrap up with a reflection for the women's sport community and us as professionals. So yeah, let's just dive in to what is AI, where did it come from, and what can it do? So put really simply, AI is a field focusing on the development of intelligent technologies and systems that are capable of solving complex problems. So it spans multiple domains, including computer science, engineering, mathematics, linguistics, neuroscience, philosophy, and a system or machine is deemed intelligent if it is capable of reasoning, adapting, or learning at or above the level of a human. So where does AI come from? So for decades, actually, scientists, technicians, philosophers have long been asking the question, can machines think? So as far back to 1950, mathematician Alan Turing brought the idea of artificial intelligence to life by asking this very question. Many of you will have seen the imitation game. It was a simple experiment of asking a series of questions to two hidden respondents. One was a human and one was a computer. And if you couldn't tell them apart with the responses, Turing claimed that machines must be able to think. Since then, though, this concept of thinking machines has progressed from being this kind of idea into a reality. So big milestone in 1997 when a supercomputer defeated a world chess champion, and it won because the computer was taught the rules and the game patterns and was able to calculate every possible chess move at lightning speed and then make the move that would increase the chance of winning the most. And then again in 2011, we saw a computer could understand and respond to language and won the $1 million prize. We then saw a few years later that a computer demonstrating that they could identify objects and images. Most recently, we've seen AI-powered robotics used in different ways. So a couple of examples there. So everyone is talking about AI. It's everywhere. It's in the news. It's like we're in this AI boom. And actually, we really are in an AI boom now. So there have been many periods over the past 70 years where AI innovation has been slow or completely stagnant. This is termed the AI winter. So periods where new ideas are beyond the capabilities of the technology available. And so it's a bit of a waiting game in a breakthrough software, hardware, to be able to unlock the next innovation. And so the most recent AI boom, the one that we're in right now, is because of a combination of three things: the rise of big data, cloud computing, and deep learning models. So let's go through each of them. So big data. Big data is it's our ability to store and process massive amounts of complex data that we're generating every day. So take a moment, think about your own data footprint, the emails you send, the text messages, the music, the songs, the videos you stream, the workouts you track, the sleep patterns. So all of this data holds information that can be extracted by AI. So cloud computing. So cloud computing is our accessibility to powerful computing resources over the internet. So instead of us having to buy our own individual supercomputers, we can borrow them on demand as we need them. So we can rent. Instead of having like a big supercomputer in our home, we can go to Google or Microsoft, and we can pay for the service we need. So it's cost effective, it's scalable, it's flexible, because we're only paying for what we use and the time that we use them for. And the third one is deep learning models. Again, term you've probably heard. We won't get too technical, but it's essentially teaching computers to process data in a way that is inspired by the human brain. So recognizing images, text, sound, so teaching techniques and methods to make decisions. So let's think about these methods for a moment. Machine learning is one such method. You've probably heard this term. So it uses algorithms to teach a model to extract knowledge or patterns from data and then make decisions or predictions. So the algorithm trains the model, and the model learns how to understand data. And actually, there's a nice analogy that is often used of baking. So you can think of the algorithm as the recipe, the data as the ingredients. So of course, the recipe is step-by-step how to transform these ingredients or the data into something. And so what we cook is the model, and it's a combination of both the ingredients, the data, and the recipe, the algorithm that is followed. So the process of training a model might sound quite similar to how our brains process information and learn new skills. So in fact, many of the most powerful algorithms are designed to mimic the layers of interconnected neurons in the brain, and we call these algorithms deep neural networks. Again, you probably heard this term. So, and the process by which they train a model is called deep learning. So deep learning algorithms underpin many of the advancements in AI because their ability to process and understand large amounts of complex data, images, audio, text, is deemed intelligent. So there's, this word intelligent, it's kind of, there are, when we think about what are the types of AI, we can also think about what are the different functions that AI systems are doing. And there are lots of different types of AI available to us. And there are many different ways to categorize AI. So I'm going to go through the different types now. So we've got natural language processing. So this is when AI systems can understand text and written information. So think about chatbots on websites. We've got computer vision, so understanding visual information like facial recognition. We have speech recognition, so understanding spoken language. So, for example, Siri, Alexa. We have recommender systems used by e-commerce websites like Amazon, streaming networks like Netflix and Spotify that suggest personalized content to you. We have expert systems, so these are used by, say, banks to make automated loan approvals. And then we have robotics, a special subset, which is capable of interacting with the physical environment, like self-driving cars or autonomous drones. And then we have generative AI, which is, again, you've probably heard of a lot lately. It's where AI can create its own content. So like how ChatGPT can write realistic text and Midjourney can generate artwork. So in many cases, AI can fall into multiple categories. So large language models are examples of both natural language processing and generative AI, because they can both understand the written text, but they can also generate written responses. So just the thing to point out here, the types of AI that we've been going through now are termed artificial narrow intelligence. So essentially mathematical models trying to make sense of data. The next level of AI doesn't exist yet, and it's something that's kind of a lot of fear mongering and hype about it, but it's commonly called artificial general intelligence or artificial superintelligence. So this means that software-based system with intellectual powers beyond those of human beings, and it doesn't exist yet. You know, often in Hollywood movies, it's like a hypothetical version of AI. So, you know, the AI that we have in our everyday lives, like virtual assistants or self-driving cars, they're high-functioning systems that replicate and sometimes surpass human intelligence, but they're only for a specific purpose. So that's kind of the difference, and maybe good for us to know. So just have a recap very quickly. What is AI? So a concept that's been evolving over the past 70 years, complex interdisciplinary field, various different techniques and methods to make decisions or predict information. And then we're in this AI boom because of big data, cloud computing, and deep learning models. So we're going to move on now. Well, actually, maybe we can just put in the chat some of the ways that you're using AI in your daily lives. And actually, I think the thing that's surprising for me is that I'm using products and apps and tools actually all the time that are powered by AI, and I didn't really realize it. And especially when you dig into the different types, it's quite interesting. So put into the chat, let's see some of the different ways that we're using AI in our daily lives. And as we continue, we'll go into the second part of the presentation, which is some of the challenges and concerns with AI. So AI is complicated. AI algorithms process vast amounts of data through sophisticated mathematical functions, ultimately producing certain outputs. And so the first concern and challenge that I want to highlight is linked to this very complexity. So there's the term black box that is used, that you think about the opaqueness of these complex internal processes that remain hidden from our understanding, and this is challenging. So we need explainability of AI, particularly in industries like healthcare or automated cars. So if a medical AI system is recommending a particular treatment for a doctor or a patient, we need to understand the basis for that recommendation. So understanding the why behind the AI decision is helpful for us to feel like we are part of a more informed decision-making process. And then the next bias, which actually it's bias, challenge, sorry, is bias, and it's bias is overall, but I've chosen gender bias for this because we talk a lot about gender issues within sport, and I think it's a topic that many of you are familiar with. So AI systems are built by engineers who are developing, programming, training complex networks of algorithms so that it can function like a human brain, most simply. So it's unlikely that AI engineers are purposefully, intentionally building AI systems that are biased. Rather, what's happening is that the algorithms are extracting, managing, and processing data. And here we're concerned with the data itself. So the data being processed is taken from what exists in society. Of course, it's not always representative of the entire population, all of its diversity. So historical data is used to create new information. And there are, of course, as we know, human biases in the data that exists. So think about lack of representation of people of different genders, races, abilities, people who have identity characteristics that are discriminated against or underrepresented in art, in science, in literature, business, sport, any industry, over time, you name it. And so in terms of gender stereotyping, the dominance of male experiences, men's voices, means that there's potentially some outcomes that can happen here. And we've listed a few in the presentation. So, you know, with image software, with language processing models, with recommender systems, women associated more with, say, professions like nursing instead of software engineer, or higher paying job adverts being shown to men, lower paying job adverts being shown to women, and so on. Next concern. So I think it's another one that I think is really defining our experience in the modern digital era, which is manipulation of media, whether audio, visual, images, to fabricate content. So, you know, and the repercussions here, as we put on the slide, are huge: erosion of trust, manipulating public sentiment, privacy concerns, so using images and words without consent. Interestingly, though, there are AI tools which are detecting manipulated content pieces. And then there's the thinking about using blockchain technology to affirm the authenticity of media content, which is interesting. And I think this concern speaks to the need for us all to be more digitally literate. There's this digital intelligence that is an increasing area, you know, questioning information sources, thinking critically. And then the last concern that I want to point out is the privatization issue. So the big five, you know, Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, pouring mega resources into research and development. It's fantastic. There's incredible breakthroughs. But at the same time, their dominance raises certain concerns: concentration of power, monopolization of AI, so stifling smaller startups and independent researchers, and then, of course, a lack of diversity in AI development. So there's a big issue in the data in terms of potential biases. But then there's this power imbalance issue in how systems are being built. But, you know, some of the ways that we're seeing kind of overcoming these biases, overcoming the power imbalances, and these are, I'll just put them here, they're intuitive things. They're intuitive inclusion considerations in terms of diverse data collection, hiring diverse development teams, incorporating feedback mechanisms and audits, and then with addressing power imbalances, so positive things happening to encourage democratization and open source initiatives, public funding, regulatory measures that is really important, education and training, particularly among underrepresented groups. So that's just 4 challenges and concerns. There are many more. If you've thought of any that I haven't pointed out here, it would be great for you to put them in the chat. Maybe you've experienced this concern in your own area of work. Maybe you've read something. Share it with the group now. It'd be great to crowdsource some additional concerns and challenges that we all have. And then in the meantime, I'll skip on to the next part, which I think is what we're all here for, which is artificial intelligence in sport. So we have been seeing professional sports teams, leagues and athletes all over the place. A lot of talk about emerging technologies, blockchain, and more recently about the rise of AI in sport. But what does this disruption look like? Hopefully this next presentation will shed light on this. So at Ready, we talk about sport as being intrinsic to the modern global economy. Sport is shaped by and influences cultures, economies, society. It's this mix of monetization, popularity, this culture-defining ability of sport that has been driven and enhanced by technology and digital media. So we've seen huge changes, and you all working in sports industry will have seen these changes as well. It's incredible too. There's new amazing ways to engage with sport. We can follow our athletes. We can have these different immersive experiences. We can enjoy highlights and playbacks and insightful stats and so on. So being a fan, being a professional in sport, there's endless opportunity. But then in terms of performance and competition of athletes, also in the availability of data and to analyze data. So we can say that sport, and you've heard this term probably many, many times over, it's more data driven than ever before. AI has everything to do with data, so it makes sense that AI would creep into the sports industry as well. So the 3 main ways that we break down the ways that we're seeing AI in sport today: athlete performance, sport business, fan experience. And so I'm going to go through each of the 3 and give some case studies of the ways that AI is being used in sport. So for athlete performance, it's likely an intuitive point. Better matched game performance outcomes are correlated with an increased access to specific tools, to experts that support athlete performance. So we've seen this across a wide range of sports across the world. The world's top performing countries, clubs, individuals, they're more likely to be fueled by resources, expertise, the latest technology, which of course has led to and leads to inequalities within leagues, within competitions, events, between those who have more investment, resource, and those who have less. And one of the exciting AI breakthroughs is that it is supporting and assisting existing tools and expertise in a variety of ways, therefore making sophisticated data and analysis more accessible. And this is really important if you think about women's sport that has been historically underinvested in and under-resourced. And we'll get back to that point later. But main ways, so we've got analysis of athlete performance. So AI systems can analyze an athlete's movement in fine detail, breaking down the motion to identify inefficiencies for improvement. So in sports like golf and tennis, AI can track an athlete's swing or stroke, pinpoint flaws in the technique, such as timing issues, improper weight distribution. It can track performance metrics, speed, power, endurance, identify patterns and trends, used then for technique modifications, and wearable sensors and devices can be equipped with real-time tracking. This example here is from 2023, signed off by FIFA. It's the first wearable tracker strapped on football boots. It monitors the technical and physical performance data, including time on the ball, technical balance, kicking velocity, speed, distance, acceleration, change of direction. You can check that out. We've got Wild AI and Zone 7, which are focused particularly on women athletes. So Zone 7, some of you will know, is being used within some of the FA Women's Super League clubs. I'll leave those case studies for you to check out in further detail and read up about them. The next point, prediction and prevention of injuries. It's a really exciting area. Traditionally, we rely on the knowledge of medical experts to manage injury, and AI algorithms can assess various factors influencing injury risk. So an athlete's physical condition, training load, biomechanics, genetics. It can then generate highly accurate injury predictions. When it comes to injury treatment, AI systems can track recovery and suggest treatment strategies. There's an example here on the slide that comes from the NFL, partnered with the Amazon Web Services, AWS. And they created the Digital Athlete, which is a computer simulation model that can replicate in-game scenarios, account for player position, environmental factors, and I'll let you guys go away and read more about these in the essence of time. But I think what's interesting in the injury prevention space is that there's the possibility now to combine human expertise and these data-driven insights for a more holistic implementation of safeguarding health and optimizing performance of players. Then we've got competition strategies. So coaches and managers can get supported with generating insights and suggestions about which lineup to choose, which tactics, how to adapt them, maybe against a particular opponent, optimal starting players, and so on. There's an example here from the US with the operations center that they have here. I suggest that you check it out. It's fascinating. The next one, just whizzing through these in the essence of time. So we've got scouting. Again, scouting is traditionally very time consuming, often based on subjective evaluations. And so AI systems can use vast data sets about players and that analyze and predict performance and potential and a fit for a team. Next one, we've got, that's scouting. Equipment design, really interesting space. So leveraging data and insights from player performance, biomechanics, injury patterns. So we've seen AI-infused running shoes. We've seen AI-powered bikes that utilize GPS and traffic data. And then the final one, refereeing. We've for sure seen some examples of this. So in tennis, the Hawkeye uses multiple high-speed cameras positioned around the court to capture the ball direction. And basically, it uses complex mathematical algorithms to predict its path and determine whether a shot was in or out. And so this helps on-court officials to make more accurate line calls. But what's also cool is it provides these instant replays that we see and detailed analytics during broadcasts. VAR as well, conflicting reactions, but essentially it's technology supporting referees with decisions, with goals and penalties and so on. So the next one, sport business. So the market for AI in the sports industry is growing rapidly. This is partly because of the AI advancements, partly because there's increased investment and budgets available to sports organizations, growing demand for data-driven insights. So go through a few of these. First of all, stadium experiences are being enhanced by AI. So when purchasing a match day ticket, automated chatbots can ask fans about their preferences and suggest tickets and discounts and other personalized extras. Then when coming to the stadium on match day, AI-assisted facial recognition can match fans with their ticket information, helping them enter the stadium quickly. AI can also track the movement around the stadium to improve traffic flow, which is really important, for example, when planning different services that the club might offer, merchandise or food vendors. Then we've got another interesting area. So just wanna, yeah, so in sponsorship and marketing. So I can say it's kind of a newer area, but it's filtering in a little bit. So AI can be used to make an informed case to sponsors about the optimal exposure and engagement moments to deliver and evidence better advertising opportunities for them. So kind of a new one for me. In terms of social media, we're seeing a lot of AI use in social media. It's really exciting. So teams can more quickly engage with and respond to different fan reactions. And then I think also the great thing is that the media companies have all of this historical archive data, and they're able to tap into that historical data to generate new content, diverse content, and so on. So this is something that Fox Sport has done with a partnership with Google Cloud and generative AI technology. So just analyzing all of the live footage that they have, all of the historical footage that they have to generate new content for TV shows, social media channels, marketing campaigns, and so on. Then we've got a couple of sponsorship and partnership case studies here. Arsenal Women FC has teamed up with Abbey. So they're implementing their AI systems to improve efficiencies in the club. There's also a socially responsive initiative here that I was reading about, Game Changers. I'm excited to learn more about that. We've got Vatic AI, which is a generative AI search advertising company, sponsorship of women's American football in the US. So as well as financial sponsorship dollars, they're also doing digital ad campaigns spotlighting the league and the athletes. And then the final one, fan experiences. So AI for fan experiences. So many of us know that there's greater demand for personalized interactive content and experiences. And as we've been seeing in the different types of AI, we have its ability to power personalized content, recommenders, products, interactive chatbots, virtual assistants, in-depth game analytics. Really cool example here, which I love, is from the Masters Golf Tournament, American Henry. It was an AI commentator providing narration at every golf shot. So allowing viewers to hear the ongoing narration rather than sitting silently at the hole. Some may hate that. And then there was a score prediction feature at every hole as well. And these AI models, it was they were actually trained on 6 years of data of masters data covering over 120,000 shots, with learning continuing after each shot. So refreshing predictions on an ongoing basis. And so fans now, they have the Masters app, they have the website, there's expanded player highlights, there's fantasy predictions. Another great one, well, a couple of ones in tennis. We've got AI-powered commentary was used at Wimbledon as well in 2023, sorry, generated real-time analysis, player profiles, statistics, highlights, and so on. And then the next one, the final example I give you here was actually from the Women's World Cup, Football World Cup, with an AI-powered all-star football team, and the possibility for users to design custom wearables crafted with AI art. So finally, we've blitzed through it. I've said a lot. Thankfully, this is being recorded if you want to play it back again. But just want to make a final point really about women's sport. So as we know, it's often had less investment, less resources to go around. In women's sport clubs all over the world, it's quite normal to have 5 people doing, one person doing 5 people's jobs. Maybe that's you. It's definitely been me previously. But there are 4 areas that I'm particularly excited about. So this is data analysis, prevention of injuries, reduction of online abuse, and cheaper and more accessible tools. So data analysis, AI systems can help the work that otherwise would take a human analyst days and days and days to do. So serious heavy lifting when it comes to analyzing data. Just on that point though, so we have a new AI in sport course online. We just launched it, and where you hear from different experts, including Nancy Hensley, who's a founding member of Mercury 13. And what she says in her contribution on the course, she said something that's really stuck with me. She's like, there's no AI without data. And for women's sport in particular, there has been limited data, historical data. And so I think that's kind of a challenge for all of us in women's sport, is to really think about how we're bringing in and capturing and strengthening our data collection and in that area. And I would highly suggest that you check her out and follow her. I'll put her bio
thank you
in the link. Second one, prevention of injury. We've seen so many players get, as they're performing at a higher level, these world-class events, ACL injuries and so on. So they require training schedules, apparel, injury prevention, treatment strategies, nutrition, well-being programs designed and tailored for their bodies. And there are products and possibilities there now. The third one, reduction of online abuse. So in the course as well, we hear from Jacqueline Comer. She's the Chief Product Officer and founder of Areto Labs. They have an AI-powered tool which identifies and eliminates harassment, abuse, discrimination. We're seeing so much of that at the moment. It's frightening. What they found is that having a more safer, positive online community leads to better, higher engagement. It's intuitive, bringing better commercial opportunities. It makes sense. If you're in a physical room and someone's hurling abuse, you're less likely to engage. Finally, there's cheaper, accessible tools. We're in an AI boom. There's new, what we're looking at today is going to be different in a few months' time. And there are free tools out there. It might be that I've actually written some free tools down here. I'll share them later on. It might be that in your day-to-day, you've used some of these tools, I don't know, inspiration for written stuff, or comms, or automated functions. I think for us, there's like I've given some really, really high tech examples. There's tools that are just so readily available for us as individuals, professionals. They can be a support system for us, whether that's transcribing or there's really a lot of tools out there. So that's it from me. We have an extended, as I say, AI in sport course. It builds on the content that you've talked about today. You hear from real experts, including Jacqueline Comer, who I mentioned, including Nancy Hensley, I mentioned, including Kalia Hogg, who's a computer science and AI graduate in the US. We also have a monthly newsletter where we spotlight brilliant initiatives, projects, people doing this kind of work. So I'll stop there, and I'll stop sharing as well. Thank you. And I'll see what's in the chat as well, because I haven't read.
That's good. Thank you so much, Lucy. That's amazing, isn't it? And I think for me, I'm just a bit blown away about how AI is everywhere. I think I thought in pockets of, and we obviously think of the data and words and content, but I think for me, my reflection, I don't know how others feel, but it's like it does feel like it's everywhere beyond where we thought it was. And there's loads of great questions there in the chat, so if we can take those for 10 minutes or so. I guess my first, because I'm hosting this, I'm allowed to ask the first question, but my first question is almost I guess, what can we all be doing? So there's a bit of a warning. I think people are quite scared of the AI side. So if you were to say to people, or the approach that we might take towards it, is there any thing we should be looking out for that you would advise in this space as it grows so much in sport?
Yeah, I think for me, so I'm also learning in the space. I'm incredibly curious. I think there are individuals who have been in, Nancy Hensley, who I talked about, she said, I was working in AI before it was cool. I mean, literally, she's been in it for 20 years. And there are, and I think it's a bit like the Women's Sport Collective. People are super open, supportive, and it's the same thing with people who are doing stuff with AI. I've actually seen some interesting projects that have been listed in the chat here. I want to go through that properly. I would say reach out to them. It's what I did with Jacqueline at Orator Labs. She talked me through, she gave me a demo of her product, of how she's using AI to eradicate online abuse for sports clubs. I would say, take our course as a starter, that would be great. But also look at some of the different initiatives, talk to people, try to get demos. And then if you just Google like free tools, try some free tools, and just have a play around as well and see.
I'm going to combine a couple of questions, if I can, on sort of scouting and your piece around scouting for athletes. So one being, how are the coaches and management reacting to the use of AI in that space? And then another question that came in earlier, one of the first questions I can't see there, which was around injury. Is there a danger that with that scouting and the kind of contracts, might it prevent athletes from getting their contracts because people are almost predicting the likelihood of injuries? Is there we seem to be looking at the negative side, but is there a negative side on that too? So I wonder what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, and I want to go through all of these chat comments and so on, because one of the questions I said is, are there any other concerns and challenges? And of course, job losses is one of them that we've seen it in different industries, design industries, art industries. So, and actually anecdotally and talking informally with say sports directors or people in sports tech who have been talking to coaches and referees and scouts about this, there have been some anecdotal comments that it's like, I don't need that, why are you encroaching on my field? And actually nothing can replace human intuition. Nothing can replace human connection. But I think that I'm not the biggest expert in this area, but my feeling is that we should be thinking, okay, I'm stretched for time. I know I'm so good at my job. I'm not replaceable. How can certain tools support me to be more efficient? And I think it's also up to the leadership, right? So if, in the same way that you set a positive leadership culture, that you have leaders who are saying, we invest in you as people, we appreciate you as a scout and a coach for what you bring, we're going to implement some tools that help promote this and this and this. I think it's also, you know, there's, you don't want people to think like, oh, my job's at risk here, because we're seeing that in the news, and that is also quite frightening. So yeah, I think you've kind of challenged me there, Sue, to maybe think about, okay, is there some specific examples? Can we build some interesting case studies where, say, coaches are and scouts are supported by tools, and what their daily lived experiences are? And like, I think that's actually a really positive piece of work to do.
Brilliant, thank you. Kate asked, is it, what can we all do? That's one of the things that really concerns me, is that lack of historical data and whatever for female sport. And I know when I've used AI, often it just takes me to the men's version.
Yeah.
I guess that's the internet side. So what can we all be doing, not just as women in sport, women and male allies in sport, to be kind of shifting that as we go through? I can't go through, there's so many great questions, but that's kind of one of, is it what?
Yeah, and we actually we have a Q&A on this very topic with Nancy Hensley and Carly Hogg, who are professionals and industry leaders in this space, and they're saying, you know, like, install the systems to be able to track, learn from others that are doing good, that have good data practices. My colleague Preeti Shetty as well, many of you know her, get on the phone to her, talk about how they can improve, how you can improve your own data systems and approach to data. So it feels like a big leap, but there are I feel like there's like incremental steps and like usable tools and people to speak to within our own community that can help us just guide the way and say, okay, we should be collecting this, and here's why.
I love, thank you. I love Sam Little's point around using AI for conflict resolution to remove those biases and the unconscious biases that exist. So I guess it is that balance, isn't it, of a negativity. And there was a fantastic comment, I can't remember who it was, that got lots of likes, about almost considering AI as a PhD student that sat alongside you, that can start you off with things, gather data, but you still need to be overseeing and have, yeah, as you say, using your experience and not completely relying on it. That's where it feels.
So a great case in point, I in my own professional life, so I was developing a business plan, a business strategy for a professional athlete who's developing his business. And it's off a series of 3 months of conversations and workshops, ideation sessions and so on. And it got to the point where, like, I have to write this thing now. And it was like, there's so many bits of information everywhere. And I was thinking, oh, I could just plug this and that in and see what happens. And at some point, it is good for that ideation if you're stuck for ideas. But ultimately, I knew that I just had to sit with this and all of the disparate pieces of information, the process that I'd been through in my head, and go through it. And so I think we as professionals, we know what what can be as a tool for support, and actually where our insights and perspectives are the things that matter in this particular project. So yeah.
And what excites you most coming down the line in the future? What do you think we should? I've got like the last couple of questions, but what excites Lucy Mills in the future in this space?
So I've seen some really talked about with some colleagues and seen some curious things. So one is like having a mentor in your pocket, so you can feed. You imagine you have profiles of different women athletes, and you do questionnaires and interviews with them, and you upload loads of knowledge. Think about your own sports organization. You have your own profile where people can ask it questions. All of that institutional knowledge, from historical records to documents to PDFs to Excels, can all go into your system, and other people can react and engage with it and ask questions and maybe talk to and get perspectives from whoever in your organization or which athlete and so on. Like, there's some that there's some, just like coolness, accessibility, maybe in an organization where there's a lot of institutional knowledge, and then say maybe someone moves on and things get lost when people move on. But there's different ways so that people engage with people, and also to not lose information as well. So I think we'll be seeing more and more of that in the coming months and years.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I do feel I feel like I almost need one other question to go before we finish on. But I am conscious, even and I'm sure there are parents on here, parents of young people in the business space who are very scared about this and losing their jobs as researchers and writers. And my reaction had been, it's coming. It is, well, it's here anyway, isn't it? It's clearly in everything, Spotify and all the algorithms that we're looking at. So how can we best manage it, engage it, use it safely, to make our lives better and easier? And I think that's the balance, isn't it, of not being so terrified of it that we don't engage with it also.
Yeah, and there are some really positive. So from a governmental perspective, from a regulatory perspective, from ethical frameworks, so AI ethics is an increasing area. You can do courses on AI ethics. There's an event I know that's happening in Parliament in the next couple of months that talks about AI and the role of sport for development. So there's more and more attention being paid about, okay, being purposeful, being intentional, safeguarding as well, and yeah, hugely important, because if the tool is in the wrong hands, then we're all
Indeed. Lucy, thank you so much. I think from all the lovely comments and engagement, I think people are a bit blown away by all that was there. But I really appreciate your time. We will share details of the course. We'll share other links from this afterwards. We'll send those out with a roundup and contact details for Lucy too. And just to say also on this, we've recently, this is about rubbish, isn't it? Tech. I've only just really recently updated my Zoom, but we can caption presentations in the future, and we didn't do that today, but it's actually with the most, I thought my Zoom was up to date and actually it wasn't. So like a little housekeeping piece for everybody, really, please go and have a look at your Zoom, whether you have got the latest version, because then we will begin to do that more. And it's conscious we haven't done that for today, but to be captioning all of these sessions that we can share with people as well too. That isn't just, I've seen Danielle on the call. We have had that conversation anyway, Danielle, but your being there prompts me to make sure we talk about that as well too in the future. So thank you to Lucy, thank you to all of you. This has definitely been our most popular session so far for the kind of 5 years of Women's Sport Collective. So thank you so much for all of your support, Lucy, and we hope to see you all again in another meeting again soon, and yeah, keep kind of spreading the word and sharing stories of how we're utilizing AI. So thanks, Lucy.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.